Hi there, it's Katie.
And Tiffany.
And here we are introing our own show. Because why not? No, we wanted to say, this is the week, this is the time. We are officially on our 2025 Italian Roman Adventure with our listeners, our visiting guests. We are doing it right now. As you're listening to this episode, we are doing it today. How do you feel about that, Tiffany?
I'm super excited. And we sold out, Katie.
I know. We sold out for the first time in the 3 years we've been doing it. So that's pretty
We had to
exciting.
turn some people away.
We did. And for those of you we turned away, or for those of you who couldn't make it this year, we're currently planning to do it again in 2026. We've debated whether or not we should take a year off. Right now, we're leaning toward not taking a year off. So if you feel like you missed out on your opportunity to come with us to Rome this year in 2025, this trip that is happening today, as you listen, send us an email or somehow put you on our radar so that we can let you know the dates of 2026 so you don't miss your chance to snag one of the very limited rooms.
Yeah, we always send out an email, an early bird email to people who have specifically emailed us with interest in previous years. We always include those people on our early bird list. So if you're interested and you think you might be able to make it work for next year, definitely let us know and we will put you in our special list.
Yes. So you can send us an email, bittersweetlifepodcast@gmail.com, and we will write you down. And yeah, don't miss the fun next year because I can only imagine. Of course, we're taping this ahead of time because we're not taping it on the road in Rome, but I can only imagine that we're having a wonderful time right now
Of course.
as you listen. All right. And now, on to the show. Welcome to Rome. This is The Bittersweet Life with Katie Sewell and Tiffany Parks. Hello, this is The Bittersweet Life. I'm Katie Sewell.
I'm Tiffany Parks.
Tiffany in Rome, Katie in Seattle, and today. This is a little past when you actually took a vacation, Tiffany, but I figured before it's too far in the recesses of your memory, even though here we are deep into fall, or kind of deep into fall, you did take a family vacation in August, like the Italians traditionally do. And I don't know that we need to do a recap of your vacation since it's now in the rearview mirror, although if you want to share a few details, feel free. But you had sent me a voice memo while you were gone with a very particular observation about your time abroad away from Italy, and I thought it would be kind of fun to delve into. So please tell us what happened and where you were when it happened.
We were in the mountains of Austria. It was the week after Ferragosto. We arrived on the 16th of August, Ferragosto being the peak of Italian tourist season. Most people take their vacations those 2 weeks or the week before and the week after, generally that time. And we had been at the same hotel 2 years previously, but we went the second week of July. So this is
Mm.
the third week of August. And man, what a difference. Um, First of all, it was much more crowded, much more crowded. But
Mm.
the difference was it was full of Italians. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there were more Italians there than I think, especially those first 3, 4 days. I would say there were more Italian guests than any other country combined, all
Wow.
other countries combined. If I had to just estimate by what I'm hearing,
Okay.
um,
Well, just
it was
just to give us a
crazy.
baseline, since you were there before, what sort of countries would you normally encounter when you were there in July?
uh, Swiss people, German people, English people, some French, not tons, but some French. I think there was even one American family when I was there in July. They seemed like they were probably like an international family. I feel like they might have lived abroad or they had, one of the family members was from somewhere else, but I did hear them speaking American English. And and then Italy, of course. I neither time did I encounter that I was aware of any Spanish people, any Portuguese people. There may have been some Scandinavians. It's sometimes hard to differentiate unless you really, really carefully listen between like a Danish and a German. Like the languages are just so close and their
Mm.
physical appearance is often similar. Same with, Dutch people. So I don't know. I can't say there were no Dutch people, there were no Danes, there were no Norwegians. I don't know.
But what you
But
do know
definitely
was it was not predominantly Italian.
not in July of 2023. This was just like overrun with Italians. Obviously, there were Austrians too. I didn't mention Austrians, but of course, it's Austria, so there's clearly going to be Austrians there as
Right,
well.
right. A given.
Um, Now, of course, northern Italy is very close to Austria, especially it's close to that part of Austria, the Tyrol. And so it makes sense that particularly northern Italians go there on vacation, especially because Austria is a bit less expensive as far as like the mountain resorts where you've got the spa and the pools and all the stuff sort of inclusive. The Austrian resorts, from what I noticed when I was doing some research, they are a little bit less expensive. Not way less, but a bit less expensive than the places in the Dolomites
Right.
in Italy.
So I have only been in the Dolomite area of Italy. I've not done any of the resort type hotels in Austria, but just so people can picture it, it is similar to the Dolomites in that the hotel is nice enough where there's often a spa at the basement, there's a pool, they have these dinners where you can sit down in a big restaurant room at the same table every night and be offered 3 to 5 course dinners that are extraordinarily affordable. And so, at least when we were in the Dolomites, assuming that these Austrian hotels are similar, we might go hiking somewhere in the morning, and then we're like, well, the hotel's so comfortable. Maybe we'll just have a spa afternoon and go swimming, and then we'll just eat at the hotel. And you end up just staying at the hotel like an extraordinarily a large amount of time compared to how much you might stay at a hotel normally. Is that the
Yes.
case?
Yes.
Same same
100%.
circumstance.
100%. Yeah. And when we were there in 2023, the weather was better. It was sunny every single day, except maybe one day it was cloudy. So we were out half of the day, sometimes a little more than that, every single day, hiking, exploring. This time, first of all, Claudio and Aurelio were tired because they had just done 5 days of intense karate in Germany right before this.
Mm-hmm.
So they were tired. And number two, the weather wasn't as good. It was okay. We had like two really nice days, two like so-so days, and at least a day and a half where it was just raining. So the weather wasn't as good. We'd done a lot of the hiking already. So we did not spend as much time out of the hotel as the time before. And honestly, we were all okay with that. Like I would have liked a little bit more sun, but Aurelio, like he loves that place so much. And it was a surprise for him that we were going back there. He did not know until we pulled up at the hotel. And he was so excited because that place has just remained with him. And it's like his number one. Like, I don't think there's any place on earth, including Disneyland, that he likes better than that hotel. Like, it's just his end all be all because it's really great for families. It's got all the great stuff that you just mentioned. In addition, it has tons of like it's got a bowling alley, it's got pool tables, it's got foosball tables, it's got a squash court. We played a game of squash, Aurelia and I. We didn't know
Nice.
what the heck we were doing when I had to actually go rob some tennis balls from the tennis machine because I don't know if you've ever played squash, Katie, but the balls that don't bounce,
Yeah.
those things don't bounce. So I was like,
No.
we can't do this. We need real tennis balls. So there's a tennis machine. There's 4 pools. There's
Wow.
2 spas. There's a family spa where kids are allowed to go, and then there's the adult spa where there's no kids allowed. And the food is amazing, just amazing, mind-blowingly good. And there's a lot of it. And it's great. We love it there. And it's like as much as I love to go to new places and explore, I'm like, if money were not an object and we had massive amounts of vacation time, that is like the one place that I would be like, let's go for a week every year.
Very nice. But would you go for a week every year if it's overrun
Not
with
in August.
Italians?
I know. That's the whole, yeah. To get back to the point of this episode, they seated us the first night because the restaurant's huge because it's a huge resort, right? So they see there's all these different areas of the restaurant. And they all kind of have their own like slightly different decor to try to make it not look like a giant cafeteria, right? So we were quite away from the front windows. And I'm like, I think you're the same way, Katie. Like we're both very much influenced by our surroundings.
Yes, very
And
much.
I do not want to be in a dark part of the restaurant, a part that's far from the windows, a part that feels separate from like the main part. I just felt like I was off in a corner.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my issue with that area. Claudio's issue with that area was different. We were surrounded by Italian families with small children.
Hmm.
Now, I should say there were a lot of small children at this hotel. Like, it's a family hotel, right? So there are a few people who go there who don't have kids, but I'd say like 75% of the guests have kids under 12. Because
Yes.
there's just, if you're just a couple without kids, like maybe you would go someplace that doesn't allow kids, so that you can have a little bit more of a sophisticated vacation. I don't know.
Well, and I want to point
So,
out because, if people are starting to think, well, they had a bad seat for one night, at least if it's anything like the resort hotels that I've been to in North Italy, this is your assigned seat for your entire
oh yeah.
stay. Where they put you is where you
Yes.
are staying. That is your spot
Yes.
for the rest of the
Yeah.
time. So that's why,
Breakfast and dinner.
yeah, that's why if it's bad,
It's
it's
bad.
bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for me, like the meals, like that's and I'm not even a foodie, Katie, but like
Hmm.
the meals, like that's the best time of day. Like
Yes.
those are the two high points of the
Truly.
day.
I know. Their
Breakfast
food
and
is
dinner.
so good. It's so good.
Yeah, and it's just so nice to know like whatever happens, it's all been paid for. Like
Mm-hmm.
no bill is going to arrive at the end of the night. You can have dessert. You can even say, "Can you bring me the other dessert?" Because there's always an option. The menu always has like 2 to 3 choices.
Mm-hmm.
So Claudio's like, "I feel like we're in the Italian ghetto." Meaning by ghetto, not meaning like a bad neighborhood, but a ghetto meaning the original sense of the word, which is when you put all people from the same nationality and you put them in one place and they're not allowed to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And every time a couple, like a family sat down, he'd be like, "Look, there's more Italians. Oh, there are Italians too. Yes, more Italians." And they all had these little kids. And I said, "Oh, I'm the one who always speaks up." He's the type of person, he has to get really far for him to say something. And he will say something, but it has to be like he has to be on his very last nerve. Whereas I will immediately speak up because my mother taught me the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Oh.
And if you don't say anything and you just assume that, okay, well, maybe tomorrow night I was like, if I don't deal with this tonight, too much time will pass and we'll never be able to change. And so I talked to the waiter and he was Austrian but he speaks a bit of English. And well, the first thing he said was, the hotel is full. It is 100%. We're at capacity, which doesn't surprise me for that time of year. But I said, but it's Saturday. Surely a lot of people left today. And he said, yes, but a lot of people came in today. And I said, I understand that, but why can't we be the people having the tables over by the window? Somebody new is going to get that table. Why shouldn't it be us? Like I just kept saying this and kept saying this. And finally he just said, okay, I'm going to go talk to the maitre d'. And I kind of saw them walk past and I heard the maitre d' say, "Nicht heut" or "heut nicht." I can't remember if it was "heut nicht" or "nicht heut." I know what that means. It means not today.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, when he came back, I was like, I understand. Don't change us tonight, but tomorrow, if it's at all possible. And the good news is, the end of the story is they moved us. And the next morning, the maitre d' came to talk to me. He was super nice, super friendly. And we were almost in the exact spot we were 2 years ago, which meant, that was a place that I had lots of happy memories of. And so I was super happy to be in that spot. But there were still Italians around us. And in fact, it was almost worse as far as the people. I hate to say this. I sound like some jerk who hates Italians. And I married an Italian and I became an Italian and my son is Italian and my grandmother was 100% full-blooded Italian. I don't hate Italians, but Katie, they are annoying. Okay? They are annoying, especially when you've been in Germany for a week, right? And
Mm-hmm.
when your previous experience with that particular place in Austria is with, 80% Austrian, German, Swiss, Northern European people, and maybe some English people sprinkled in, and a very, very small percent of Italians. So it just felt like the whole volume of the whole resort was like turned up several notches.
Well, this is the voice memo that you sent me because you just are. I don't even know. Maybe I should just play a snippet of it. But it's basically, It's basically the Italians. It's not that you don't want to be around Italians, because obviously you live around Italians every day, all day long, but it's that they're so loud. They're just so loud.
Sometimes you have to leave the country where you live to realize or remember how annoying the people in your country are. Um, and I can't even believe how annoying they are. And Claudio is like, oh my gosh, who do you hear more than anyone else? You hear the Italians. You hear Italians. They're so loud. And it's not just that they're loud, they're annoying. They're so annoying. They act like they're in their backyard having a barbecue with like their extended family. They just act like they're the only people here. They talk so loud. They talk on the phone so loud. I'm like lying out here by the pool, right? And I don't mean to be complaining. I just think it's funny that like I'm surrounded by Italians all day, every day. And it's just like a fact of life for me. But now I'm like on vacation and they're all driving me insane.
I mean, is that ultimately what it was, or was it?
I think that's what it is. It's the scent, it's the loud, so it's the volume. Honestly, the amount of talking,
Hmm.
the literal number of words that one person can say. And maybe I just hear them more because they're louder, but I honestly feel like they're talking more.
Hmm.
So it's more words, louder voice, and they just have this sort of attitude, which, to be frank, I think that Americans are like this too. When you're in a foreign place, and so the Italians are the foreigners, or Americans are the foreigners, same thing, they have a tendency to sort of act like they own the place. I don't mean to say that they act like they're better than other people or like everyone should be at their beck and call. It's not that as much as it's like Claudio put it, it's like it seems like they feel like they're in their own building, their own condominio, as he put it. And like half of the people living there in the other apartments are their family members, which is often the case in Italy. And they're
Mm-hmm.
calling across the room to each other. They're calling from table to table. They're having a big conversation, with a lot of gesticulation, like in the middle of the hallway, or you're around the pool and you're trying to relax. And like there was this one moment where this guy was up on the balcony of the spa in his bathrobe and he's yelling down to family friend or relative, I wasn't sure, who was on the opposite side of the pool. And I'm lying there, trying to read my book, trying to relax. I'm here. This is like my 1 week of pure relaxation in the year. And I'm like, I don't want to hear your conversation. It's not okay. I just don't, I don't think it's okay. I think that when you're in a public place like that, and there's a lot of people around who want to relax, I think that the correct thing to do is to speak quietly. Not that you have to whisper, but just be aware that people don't want to hear you. They
Mm-hmm.
don't. And they're not interested in what you're saying, but it's not just that they're not interested. They actually actively don't want to hear it most of the time. And so if you do need to talk, like call them or go down and talk to them in person. Like don't yell across the room. It's just rude.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
it came home to me in a way that it doesn't in Italy as much because in Italy, everybody's like that, right? So your base level of noise is higher.
Yeah.
When you go to a northern country, you go to a Germanic country, the base level is so much lower that everybody who's talking loud, it's like it really is like a sore thumb, for lack
Yeah.
of a better
Yeah.
expression.
Did you ask Claudia about this at all? Because he's from an Italian family. Like, let's say you weren't there. I feel like you're a tempering quality because you guys are a mixed cultural family. But like, let's say you weren't there. Is his family going to do the same thing? Like yell to each other across the room and gesticulate in the hallway? And, is he quieter around you, would you guess?
He's quieter than me, actually. He is an unusual Italian. He's actually quieter than me. And when we sit at a dinner table, he basically whispers. Like he barely talks above a whisper.
Hmm.
Um, so often I have to tell him to speak up.
Yeah, you're like, what?
And
What?
yeah,
Yeah.
and he's the opposite. He acts like here I have something personal to say and I don't want other people eavesdropping on our conversation. And I'm like, honey, nobody is eavesdropping.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
I've,
Like,
I've had this conversation with Derek 1,000 times where I'm like, no, not only is nobody eavesdropping, I can't even hear you. You need to like speak
yeah,
up.
exactly.
I'm sitting right here and I can't tell what you're trying to tell me.
Yes, yes. And when you're in a foreign language, it's even worse because I think that I find when I'm speaking a foreign language, I'm deafer than when I'm speaking my own language. Like
Uh,
it has to be a tiny bit louder for me to understand properly. But there
but
was this one, go ahead.
no, go ahead. You can tell me about the one woman, but I
No,
don't want you to forget my question because about
sorry,
like
your question.
what his
Yes, yes,
family
let me
would
get
be
back to that.
doing if
His family is loud. His family is loud. And he is not loud, and his dad is not that loud. But his mom and his sisters are loud. And sometimes I hope my sister-in-law is not listening. She sometimes does. But anyway, sometimes my mom is over there. She feels like she can't get a word in edgewise.
mm,
Um, Now she doesn't speak the language. So, but she tries. She does speak some Italian and she can formulate sentences and I will help her out a little bit, but she likes to try, which I really appreciate. And they'll try to speak English with her too. So it's a mixture. So they do communicate, but like if she hesitates for like 2 seconds, there's never a moment when like everybody's silent and like she's percolating her thought and getting it out. It's like she's been interrupted 5 times before she can get it out, and always loudly. And sometimes she always takes it very easily. Like she's never offended. She just kind of laughs about it, but she does get a little bit frustrated when she's just like, "Oh, they're always talking. Like you can't." And my father-in-law, although he's not loud as in terms of the volume of his
mm-hmm.
voice, he really, really, really loves to talk.
Yes.
Really loves to talk.
Well,
He
and
loves to hear his own voice.
yes, he has that kind of presence that sucks the energy into him also, you know.
Oh yeah,
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 something about
absolutely. I mean, he's a classic. Uh, okay, I'll just say it, a classic narcissist. Um, but sorry if you're listening. But the first time my mother ever met my in-laws was over at their house. I don't think Claudia and I were married yet. I'm pretty sure we weren't. And it was wonderful. My mother-in-law made an amazing meal. They were so happy to have her and my stepfather. But there were moments when my mom like almost had to like I don't know how to describe this sort of moment, how it happened, but like they were having a conversation. She was having a conversation with my father-in-law. I was translating because he didn't speak any English at that time. And he probably must have asked her a question or made a statement and she's responding. And while she starts to talk, he continues. And she just kind of jumped back in a way that a lot
hmm
of women will do when a man doesn't allow them their sort of share in the conversation. It reminded me almost of like of a little girl feeling like, oh, I was speaking out of turn. And I just burned at that moment because I was like, my mother is 15 years older than you. My parents are older than Claudio's parents. They
hmm
had us at an older age. That's a personal thing though. Okay, this
Yeah.
isn't necessarily all Italians. This is a personal thing. But to answer your question, yes, my Italian family is loud.
Yeah. I mean, it would be impossible to like come up with a theory on
Well,
why.
I did ask Claudio because
Okay.
you said
Why
ask
it,
Claudio,
yeah,
and
ask
I
him and
did, and
specifically
he
ask just so people who weren't on our text exchange know, ask why are they so loud? If Italian people, one of their dominant shared characteristics is louder than everyone else in the countries surrounding them, why? Why are they so loud? So what did Claudio say?
well, of course, he always will point out the Spanish are louder.
Okay.
He will always point that out, and it seems in my limited experience because I haven't spent tons of time in Spain, it does seem true. And then the South Americans are even louder than the Spanish. We're generalizing here,
Yeah, of
but these
course.
are, you know, I think the only thing I can think is that it's a Southern European slash Latin thing. If you grow up in a loud family and everyone around you is loud, you are going to be loud because if you're not loud, you're not going to be heard. And so you live your whole life thinking that's normal. And then you go off into the world and you don't notice. Obviously, some people do notice, and some people, like Claudio, will. change their habits. But most people don't really pay attention to, that kind of thing. And so they go out into the world and they keep speaking loud, even though everyone around them is speaking so quietly.
Support for the Bittersweet Life comes from our listeners. This is an independent production, not backed by any financial institution except for the love and care of the people who listen to it. If this is a show that you love and you've never supported it, or you've supported it in the past and are looking to re-up, join us at patreon.com/thebittersweetlifepodcast. There's a link in the show notes. Your contribution of $5 a month or more not only helps us, it benefits you as well. Bonus episodes, special content, live meetups, even some of Tiffany's mother-in-law's coveted Italian recipes. Visit patreon.com/thebittersweetlifepodcast. There's a link in the show notes. And thanks.
Another little anecdote, many, many years ago, long before I met my husband, I was dating a Sicilian man. So you can imagine, the further south you go, the louder people get, okay? And he was living in France, and we were in the countryside near Paris, and we were having lunch in a kind of nice restaurant. It was a very nice place, and sort of like one of those little jewels that you find in the countryside in Europe. And his mother called him. And so he was on the, he's on the phone, he's talking, and I just kept hearing him say, "I can't talk loudly here." And then I think someone else called him, and I just remember him saying the exact same thing. "I can't talk loudly here." And it was clearly a response to something they were saying. Mm-hmm. And I said, "Why did you keep saying that?" He's like, "Because they kept asking me, why are you whispering?"
Yeah, they're like, "What are you doing?" Like,
yeah, so he lived in France, so he was used to this. He had been there long enough to know, okay, I can't talk like I'm in Sicily. I've got to lower it. I've got to bring it down a notch. But when you're on vacation, you don't necessarily have enough time to acclimate to these cultural differences.
Well, and not only on vacation, but on vacation during a time when Italians are all traveling. And so wherever you go, there are a lot of Italians.
Yeah. I told Claudio never again at that place in mid-August. There are other places you can go in August and you won't find Italians.
Are you saying that you need a break from Italians when you go on vacation?
I do. Absolutely. I mean, I can't get a 100% break because my husband's always with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mind a couple of Italian families, but I don't want to be surrounded. I'm surrounded my whole life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So true.
I mean, it's just like you, as an American, when you go abroad, do you want to be surrounded by Americans?
No. Yeah. You want to be around people of different cultures. Exactly. Exactly true. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny to me that I've gotten to the point in my expat/immigrant life that the people of my new country, my adopted country, are now so familiar to me that I want to escape them too.
I think that's a brilliant point to end on right there. How do you know that you've fully assimilated into your adopted country? Is when you're equally annoyed by the people that you chose to live with initially, maybe even dreamed of living with initially.
Yeah, for sure.
And now you just are like, let me have a vacation without these people around.
Yeah.
That's pretty great. That's pretty great. All right, well, we'll leave it there. Feel free to let us know some predominant traits that you notice about your own countrymen when you're out and abroad that might stand out a little bit more than they do at home. It's kind of a good reminder to interrogate why and how we do things ourselves. Because like you said, if you're raised in a loud household, you're just loud because that's the norm. And so it would be interesting to look at our own lives and be like, well, what do I do as a norm because of where I was raised? All right, well, we'll leave it there. Email us, please support the show. You'll find links to donate in the show notes. And I guess we'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.
If you love the show, help spread the word to others by giving us a quick 5-star review wherever you listen. We love reading your comments and compliments. They are like fuel to the work. Thanks for taking the time.